All right, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Atypical Security Guard. Okay, today we're going to be talking about the fastest ways to get removed from a site as a security guard. I told you guys in my last live stream that I actually got removed from a site and banned from that site for being too nice, for being too empathetic, too sympathetic, for being too compassionate, too caring. So there's all kinds of things that can lead to you getting removed from the site. And a lot of times it doesn't have to be anything that you're doing wrong per se. Guys, I have said this before. I will continue to say this. Our job is customer service and it's client satisfaction based. Let me say this again. Our job is customer satisfaction and it's client centered, client satisfaction based. So we're going to talk about those 5 things again, as always, in no particular order. It's just the way that they're written down. Any one of these could be number 1. Any one of these could be number 5. We're going to start today at 1 and work our way up. Number 1, and I'm so against this. Listen, if it was up to me, this would not be an issue. Unfortunately, the vast majority of people that we work for tend to be in an older demographic. The older demographic, people who are unfortunately my age or older. I'm 46. I'll be 47 in a couple of weeks. People who are in their 40s and higher, they have some weird obsession with like being anti-phone. So the number 1 thing is going to be being on your phone in view of staff attendance. Now, the crazy thing about like the company that I work for and for a lot of companies in 2025 is that damn near everything that we do is on our phones, right? Our dispatch comes through our phone. You know, we take pictures of the property with our phone. Our communication with our team, with our supervisors, everything is done with our phone. However, that does not change the fact that a large amount of people, and unfortunately for us as security guards, this falls within the client perspective. They're anti-phone. They see you as being on your phone in any capacity as you're not paying attention, you're not being situationally aware, you're not being dialed in. Now, to that point and to that fact, a lot of security guards are not dialed in, situationally aware, paying attention to what's going on around them and in their area. So it's a give and a take. The unfortunate thing for private security guards who are younger, who are working in this industry, is that even though so much is being asked of us to be done on our phone, being on your phone can be problematic. And if you're given enough complaints, if you're not, aware of this, if you're not cognizant of it, it can get you removed. It's important to remember that even if you're doing something work related, it still can look bad. And the second that you look distracted, they assume that you're useless and they complain. I will add this one little thing. Private security guards have a really bad problem of talking about what they make. Now, here in Portland, private security is a very lucrative industry, right? You can make anywhere from, if you're working armed, I would say $25 to $50 an hour. You can make really good money working in private security. And if you're in the environment where, let's say you're working at a grocery store, you're working at a convenience store, gas station, retail establishment, as the security guard, you're probably making more than a lot of the people that are working there. You're probably making something close or similar to what management is making. And once people start talking about how much they're making, how much they're being paid, it's like a little seed that gets planted in everybody around you's mind. And the second that it looks like you're not dialed in, you're not completely focused on the job, it will become a complaint. It will become a problem. And this is a good way to get yourself in trouble. So watch being on your phone, even if you're required to be on your phone while you're doing your work. Number 2 is getting confrontational with customers or employees. They say that security is a job of observe and report. I really feel like it should be changed to observe and overreact. It is so normal, unfortunately, for private security guards to just overreact to things, to go overboard, to do too much. Like, that's why we have the stereotype, right? And you have to remember that clients are paying for us 9 times out of 10 to be a visual deterrent, or to be the person that de-escalates the situation once it starts or once it happens. If you're the private security guard, You're being paid to do those two things, but you're causing problems. You're actually the person that is creating the issue. You're not going to last long. It's very important for private security guards to remember that clients expect diplomacy. This means being able to interact with people, to talk to people, talk them off that ledge, calm them down. They expect diplomacy and not dominance. You might be right, but if you make a paying customer uncomfortable, you are the liability. It is so important to remember that regardless of where you are, where you work, you don't know who these people are. That person who's complaining at customer service, that person who maybe is a little bit too loud at the self-checkout, that person that you're having the interaction with, they could be best friends with the owner of the company. They could be someone with political ties, someone with, with leadership ties to the community. You never know who you're talking to. So make sure that when you're working, you're always being professional, you're always being respectful, and you're bringing that temperature down. You're bringing that temperature down in the situations that you're responding to, because if you're not diplomatic and you piss people off, you're going to be gone. Okay. Number 3 is treating the job like it's all about enforcement. Private security guards, especially in 2025, we are being asked to do more than we've ever been asked. We're being asked to take on a lot of the responsibilities of community policing. We're being asked to do more patrols in cities and towns. We're being asked to interact with homeless communities, to respond to real crime, to real issues, real problems. But you have to always remember that private security is not law enforcement, right? If you're out there and you're only out there flexing rules and not building rapport, you become a necessary evil, not a welcomed asset. And most clients want soft skills. Again, we've talked about this on many streams. The vast majority of clients out there are looking for private security to look like a response, to look like a deterrent. They really don't want us to respond. They really don't want us to get involved in a lot of cases. So you have to make sure that you're treating your job not like you're a cop, not like you're in an enforcement position, but that you're there to respond, you're there to help. I've said this many, many times. Our job is a job of customer service. It's about client satisfaction and customer service. Don't be out there acting like a cop, right? Number 4 is not understanding site-specific expectations. Now, where this can be an issue for private security guards is that a lot of companies don't allow, and this is probably for good reason, but a lot of companies don't allow that frontline private security guard that's working to really have interaction or conversation with management. And I always want you guys to follow your post orders. I always want you guys to follow protocol. However, it is so important to get to know as much as possible the people that you're working for at that location. Not just your supervisors, not just, the company ownership of the people that you're working for, but when you're at these sites, it's important to get a feel for what management that's there is looking for. It's important to know what their problems are. It's important to be kind of abreast of like some of the issues that they face at that location, because every site is going to be different. I said this on the past live stream. My approach to people, how I talk to the homeless community, how I interact with those people who are suffering from mental illness, it's actually gotten me on local news and national news. But at the same time, that same way that I approach people, that same way that I talk to people, that same way that I do my job and how I carry myself, it's actually gotten me removed from certain locations. So it's important to know what this site is, their expectations are, what they're looking for, what their issues are, and how that's different from other sites that you're working. Because even though you're working for the same company, you're providing the same service, each site that you go to is going to have a different set of problems and issues. And the people that are running that site, the people or the client that you're servicing, they're all going to be looking for something different. So in any way that you can, try to understand that, try to get familiar with that so that you know how to carry yourself when you're at that site. But again, this can be problematic because a lot of times private security guards are told, do not talk to the client, don't have conversations, don't get involved in a back and forth. Any conversation about what we're doing or the services that we're offering there needs to come from a level of management. But unfortunately for the security guard, if you're not aware of these things, it's really easy to step on your own dick and get yourself in trouble. Okay. Number 5, and something that a lot of people don't think about. This is an issue that I've had with myself over my 20 to 25 years of employment, making your supervisors look bad. This can be things that you say. This can be how you interact with those supervisors. This can be allowing yourself to get into a back and forth or an argument. At the end of the day, we all work for somebody. We all answer to somebody. I said this in a video about law enforcement, that you always respect the rank. You might not respect the person, right? When you're interacting with a law enforcement officer, you might be dealing with somebody who's a complete asshole, who's a complete dick. But as a security guard, you still need to show the utmost respect for the position that that person is in. That's no different than your supervisor. And when you're working in private security, sometimes you're going to have people that are above you, or people who are put in a position of authority that might be, in my case, some of the guys that are in charge of me are 20 years, 25 years younger than I am. Maybe some of these people have been in security for 2 years, where I've been working in security almost 10. Like it's irrelevant what their experience is. It's irrelevant how old they are. It's irrelevant how good they are at their job. Sometimes you're going to have to answer to someone who might be a little bit less competent in the industry than you are. It doesn't matter. You still have to get along with this person. You still have to show a level of respect to this person. There still has to be a proper chain of command and protocol. And it's so easy for private security guards to allow themselves to have an issue with somebody, get into a back and forth, get into an argument, say the wrong thing, make the wrong comment. And you have to remember, these people, to a large degree, they control, how your day can go while you're working in this environment. You have to remember that if a complaint goes up and it sounds like you're out of control or rogue, management will drop you to protect their relationship, even if you're technically right. You have to remember that in any organization that you work in, you might be dealing with people that have, personal relationships, family relationships. You might be dealing with somebody at a low level management position who's related to the owner of the company. It's never a good idea to allow yourself to get into a back and forth with your management or your supervisors. It's not going to work out well for you. And when I say this, I'm acknowledging that sometimes those supervisors or frontline managers, they might not be doing a good job. They might be the one that's out of line. They might be the one that's creating the problem. But how you go about addressing that is so important. And maybe we'll make another video about how to properly address issues with those who are above you. That would be a really good live stream. We'll do that somewhere in the future. But definitely do not allow yourself to get into a back and forth. Do not allow yourself to get into an argument. Do not allow yourself to say the wrong thing or paint your management or the ownership in a bad light. It will never, ever work out well for you. Now, what I do want to know is, what did I miss? Okay. What are some other things that you can think of that'll get you removed from a site? We've talked about some of the easiest and quickest ways for you to lose your job, but what are some ways that you can get removed or banned or kicked from a site? What are some of the craziest things that you guys have seen in the companies that you work for, or people that in security? What are some of the stories that you've heard? Drop that in the comments below. Guys, as always, I want to thank you for being a part of our program here. Sorry. Sorry, I just kicked myself out of the studio there. I hope you're enjoying what we're doing. And as always, I want you guys to make sure that you're sharing this page, sharing these videos, and making other people aware of what we're creating here. As always, watch your back, watch your six, and be great. You guys take care.